Honourable members, please be seated. Honourable members, before we proceed further and continue from where we were at our lunch recess, I wish to acknowledge and thank the Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Gregory Tambua, for presiding over the House proceeding in my absence this morning. The Deputy Speaker has skillfully navigated her way through our order paper for today, that except for one last end of the week statement, I'm left with the only one last agenda to deal with. So thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable members, please join me in welcoming the Year 7 students of Ratu Latinara Memorial School. They are accompanied by their teachers, of course, and we welcome all of you to this Parliament, your Parliament, this afternoon, and we hope that you will learn a little bit more about what your Parliament stands for and is all about and what it does. Thank you. So the last end of the week statement, honourable members, will be delivered by the Honourable Ratu Rakuita Olalambure, and I call on the honourable member to deliver his statement.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, and Honourable Members of Parliament. Honourable Speaker, Fiji stands at a pivotal juncture in its development journey. As the nation grapples with evolving social, economic, and environmental challenges, the need to modernize its legislative framework has become increasingly urgent. Many of Fiji's laws, some dating back to the colonial era, no longer reflect the realities of contemporary governance, human rights, or community aspirations. Reviewing and reforming outdated legislation is not merely a bureaucratic exercise. It is a strategic imperative to unlock national progress, empower communities, and uphold justice. Laws form the foundation of good governance, and when they are outdated or misaligned with the current realities, they can slow our progress as a nation. Honourable Speaker, Fiji's development journey continues to evolve. As new challenges and opportunities arise, it is crucial that our laws reflect the times we live in. Regular review and reform of legislations ensure that we remain up to international standards, fulfill our global and regional commitments, and strengthen our institutions to deliver effectively for our people. Regular legislative review is a cornerstone of good governance and is vital for our country to move forward effectively in a rapidly changing world. Honourable Speaker, in fostering economic and social development, outdated laws can stifle progress. For example, laws governing factory work from the early industrial era were insufficient to address modern safety standards and working conditions. Regular reviews have enabled the creation of modern employment and health and safety laws that protect workers and promote a productive workforce. Similarly, laws on commerce, intellectual property, and data protection must adapt to the digital age. Failure to update these can lead to economic inefficiencies, security vulnerabilities, and loss of investor confidence. Maintaining the rule of law and the public trust. Laws provide the fundamental structure and rules for society to operate. When laws become obsolete, Honourable Speaker, unclear, or out of step with contemporary social norms and values, they can lose legitimacy and public respect. Citizens and businesses are more likely to comply with laws they perceive as fair, relevant, and consistent. Regular reviews ensure the law remains relevant. which underpins the rule of law and builds public trust in democratic institutions. Adapting to new challenges and innovation. Honorable Speaker, society faces new challenges constantly, from climate change to cybersecurity threats. The review process allows the legal framework to adapt and respond effectively to these issues. It enables the creation of laws that provide solutions to emerging problems and avoids the pitfalls of trying to apply antiquated legal concepts to entirely new scenarios. In ensuring efficiency and legal certainty, Honorable Speaker, a statute book clogged with redundant or contradictory laws creates confusion for the public, lawyers, and the judiciary, leading to unnecessary legal costs and operational inefficiencies. Parliament's house cleaning efforts, such as statute law, streamline the legal system, making it clearer and more accessible. This certainty and clarity, Honorable Speaker, is essential for efficient administration and a functioning legal system. Honorable Speaker, Parliament is not merely a lawmaking body. It is a vital engine of legal and social evolution. Its power to scrutinize, amend, and repeal outdated legislation is a critical mechanism for preventing stagnation, ensuring that the legal framework facilitates rather than hinders a country's movement towards a more just, efficient, and prosperous future. As members of Parliament, Honorable Speaker, we hold the mandate of the people, and it is imperative that we as legislators must maintain relevance of laws that affect our people, our economy, and most importantly, Honorable Speaker, our sovereignty. Honorable Speaker, at times we have been swayed and we have mostly become project managers in these chambers. Honorable Speaker, I remind this House that we are legislators, and in that context, we make laws, repeal laws, and review laws for the betterment of our beloved country and its people. Honorable Speaker, Fiji has several laws that were established during the colonial era and are now considered outdated, as they no longer align with modern societal needs, technological advancements, or international standards. Some specific examples, Honorable Speaker, are the Public Health Act of 1935. This is one of the oldest pieces of legislation currently under comprehensive review, Honorable Speaker. The Fisheries Act of 1942. This act is described as archaic and in dire need of modernization. The Workers' Compensation Reform of 1964. This legislation is one of the several employment laws that the Ministry of Employment has been overhauling because it is considered colonial-based and contains unsuitable clauses that do not fit into the employment trend of today. The Burial and Cremation Act of 1911, Honorable Speaker, this is an extremely old law, and its provisions require updating to align with modern practices and needs. The Mining Act of 1965 are laws that are rooted in its colonial past and are complex and outdated, requiring extensive consultation for revision to address modern royalty sharing and environmental standards. The Police Act of 1965, Honorable Speaker. This act, which guided the Fiji Police Force since colonial days, is considered no longer suited to today's rapidly changing crime landscape. The Local Government Act of 1972, National Trust of Fiji Act 1970, the Markets Act of 1940, Moneylenders Act of 1938, the Patents Act of 1879, Pesticides Act of 1977, Widows and Orphans Act of 1914, Quarries Act of 1939. Honorable Speaker, our very own Parliament Powers and Privileges Act of 1965 is an outdated law, I would call. It calls for review. Honorable Speaker, these are some examples of some of the outdated laws that govern our country. These laws and many others are still being used today and is heavily relied on by our civil service and ministries, and even the judiciary to settle cases, but are lacking in many ways. Honorable Speaker, in many cases, our older laws were drafted under circumstances that no longer reflect today's social, economic, and security landscape. Legislative reviews allow us to close gaps, remove duplication, and ensure that our policies are relevant and responsive. They also enable us to enhance penalties when necessary, not to punish, but to deter wrongdoing and maintain public order. Mr. Speaker, sir, legislative reform also empowers our institutions to perform their mandates with greater clarity and confidence. When laws are clear, consistent, and well aligned with our international obligations, they create a stronger foundation for enforcement, accountability, and cooperation both within government and with our development partners. Honorable Speaker, reviewing legislation is not merely an administrative exercise. It is about nation building, ensuring that our legal frameworks support our people's aspirations and protect the generations to come. It is also a reflection of leadership to recognize when change is needed and to act decisively in the best interest of the nation. Honorable Speaker, to conclude, some of our archaic laws are being reviewed as we speak, such as the Police Act of 1965, which is undergoing a big overhaul to align the force's operations with the principles of accountability, transparency, human rights, and to better tackle modern crimes like cybercrime. The Public Health Act of 1935 is also currently undergoing a comprehensive review and should be tabled in this House in the not-too-distant future. Honorable Speaker, today the Forestry Bill will be tabled in Parliament. This will mark a significant milestone in Fiji's forestry reform agenda. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, the Education Bill will also be tabled in Parliament, which is a review of the outdated Education Act of 1966. Yesterday, Honorable Speaker, we were assured in these chambers by the Honorable Minister for Fisheries that the Fisheries Act of 1941, another updated law, is also in the final stages of its review and will soon see itself in these chambers. Honorable Speaker, before I take my leave, I wish to reaffirm this House that legislative review is central to Fiji's progress. As legislators, we must adhere to keep our laws up to date, as it will strengthen our institutions, promotes compliance with international standards, enhances deterrence against wrongdoing, builds our economy, and ensures that our laws continue to serve the people fairly, firmly, and without foresight. Thank you very much for your indulgence, Honorable Speaker.
I thank the Honorable Ratu Lalamburi for his very important statement on the state of our laws and their relevance, although I will admit my bias on the subject. Thank you. I will now call on the Minister for Justice and the Acting Attorney, the Honorable Sirami Turanga, for his response.
Honorable Speaker, I thank Honorable Ratu Kuitavalalamure for his end of the week statement, highlighting the importance of legislative review in moving our nation forward. I rise to echo his sentiments and reaffirms the coalition government's strong commitment to a comprehensive and coordinated program of law reform. Mr. Speaker, sir, the review legislation is not simply an administrative task. It is a essential mechanism for ensuring that the laws of our nation remain responsive, relevant, and reflective of the aspirations of our people. Over the past years, under the coalition government, we have seen remarkable legislative activity that demonstrates this very commitment. Since 2023, a total of 84 bills have been tabled in Parliament, 29 bills in 2023, 23 bills in 2024, and 34 bills tabled this year. Of these, 73 bills have been enacted into law, with the remainder under active consideration by the relevant Parliamentary Standing Committee. I can make assurance by the end of the year, will be probably around 40 bills will be enacted this year. This reflects not just the quantity, but the quality of reforms introduced, each designed to modernize governance, strengthen transparency, enhance the delivery of public service. In 2023, landmark legislation included the Media Industry Development Repeal Act, restoring press freedom. In the Itoke Land Trust Amendment 2023, ensuring fairness and accessibility for landowners. The Employment Relations Amendment Act 2023, which improved workers' rights and protection. In 2024, Parliament saw the introduction of significant structural and social reforms, such as Child Care and Protection Bill 2024, Justice Bill 2024, modernizing Fiji's child protection framework, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill 2024, reflecting Fiji's leadership in climate and disaster resilience, the Truth and Reconciliation Bill 2024, introduced by the Honorable Prime Minister to promote healing and national unity. In December, we will bring in the referendum bill, which should have been brought earlier by the previous government. We wonder why. Maybe they thought the Constitution would never be amended. Well, rest assured, it's coming in December. Honorable Speaker, sir, we would like to maintain this momentum that is evidenced by the work done so far. There is a growing recognition of the importance of the work of legislative drafters, which is unfortunately contrasted with the shortage of drafters in jurisdictions all over the world, as you are fully aware, especially here in the Pacific. It is therefore imperative that we ensure that this specialized area of practice within the legal profession is further developed and resourced. That aside, there is even a greater need for critical policy development that is crucial in the development of any law. While law reform, ministries are expected to monitor outdated practices, initiate active research and policy review to address these issues that require law reforms. This is a proactive step so that our laws are up to date as possible and not playing catch up. In summary, Mr. Speaker, sir, the key themes are policy development. This is where policy is designed by the ministries. The second phase will be the endorsement of cabinet. The review of the law, like the fisheries yesterday, is just a review of the law, the drafting of the law, the endorsement of the cabinet subcommittee on legislation, the endorsement of cabinet, and of course the tabling of parliament. Honorable Speaker, this legislative review process is continuing. The Office of the Solicitor General, together with line ministries, is reviewing existing laws to find outdated provisions, overlapping functions, and areas that need to be outdated to match new policies and Fiji's international commitments. This work ensures that our law remains relevant, practical, and in line with the country's current needs and priorities. The coalition government is also focused on building the capacity of our public service to strengthen the link between policy development and lawmaking. Training and coordination across ministries will help ensure that all new laws are based on clear policy directions, good research, and proper consultation. This approach will support more effective, timely, and well-coordinated reforms that reflects the goals of our national development agenda. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2023, the coalition government revived the Fiji law reform. This agency was defunded by the previous government. The purpose of the Fiji reform is to engage in consultation in terms of the review of law. Since it's re-established, these are currently some of the references they are currently working on. The High Court rules of 1998 and Magistrate Court rules of 1945. Mr. Speaker, so you're familiar with this. We have talked about the delay in court. We really need to fix these rules so that we can expedite these cases so people can have full confidence in the way the systems are in terms of case management. We also have the Fiji Law Reform Commission Act of 1979, which is under review. The Liquor Act of 2006 and the Legal Regulation of 2008. We're talking about the Police Act, today's Fiji Times. It covered the discussion at the Fiji Law Society in the lack of capacity and the constraints that the police have because of the outdated law. Human trafficking, Security Industries Act 2010, that currently being reviewed. The Cybersecurity, the Land Use Act, the State Land Act of 1945, the Online Safety Act of 2018, the Mining Act of 1965, the Honors and Awards of 1995, the agriculture-related laws, about 7 pieces of legislation, the Ministry of Defense Act, or the Military Justice Bill, the review of the Immigration Act of 2003. On Monday, we will sign, I will receive the report in terms of the consultation done on this law. The Citizenship Act of 2009 and the Passport Act of 2002. Honorable Speaker, the honorable members are absolutely right in reviewing and modernizing our laws is critical in moving the country forward. It ensures that our governance framework keeps pace with economic growth, digital transformation, social inclusion, and environmentally sustainability. Through our collective efforts, Parliament, ministries, and the Office of Attorney General, we're building a modern, transparent, and fair legislative system that upholds the rule of law and advances the rights of Fijians. The coalition government remains fully committed to this legislative renewal agenda, and I commend the honourable member for underscoring its importance. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I resume my seat, I would like to respond to Honourable Koya regarding his speech on the independence of the courts. Something we hold dear from this side of the House, something we promised. If anything, the coalition government has established and demonstrated, it is the democracy is at work. The independence of the court. That's the legacy we want to leave behind. We want to build the confidence, the trust in the system. From day one, the Honourable Prime Minister, we will comply with it and will remain committed. Mr. Koya and the opposition, there is no need, and we are prohibited to do so. If anything, we want to reassure the people of Fiji that the rule of law will prevail in our beloved country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank the Minister for Justice and the Acting Attorney, the Honourable Turanga, for his response. That is the last of the end of the week statement, and we will move on to the next item on the order paper. Secretary General.
Consideration of bills.
Honourable members, please take note that there will be 3 bills for consideration today. The first one will be for first reading. The second bill will be debate, vote, and enactment. And the third bill will be moved under Standing Order 51. We will now deal with the first bill, and I now call upon the Minister for Education, the Honourable Asiri Rondondro, to move the first reading of his bill.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order 84, I move that the Education Bill 2025 be now read the first time.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby second the motion.
Thank you. The Honourable Tuisawau. Please hand the 4 copies of the bill to the Secretary General, Honourable Minister. Secretary General.
A bill for an act to give effect to the constitutional right to education, to establish the Education Advisory Council, to establish the National Curriculum and Assessment Authority, to provide for the recognition and registration of schools, to provide for early childhood education, primary education, secondary education, and technical and vocational education and training, to provide for special and inclusive education, to establish the Fiji Teachers Registration Authority and continue the Fiji Teachers Registration Board, to provide for the registration of teachers to continue the Higher Education Commission to provide for the registration of higher education institutions, to provide for higher education and for related matters, Bill number 34 of 2025.
Honourable members, in accordance with Standing Order 84, Clause 1, the bill has now been read the first time. The bill will now be listed on the order paper and set down for second reading at a future sitting of Parliament. Honourable members, given that the second reading of the bill will be scheduled to a future sitting of Parliament, I encourage all members to study and examine the bill and prepare accordingly, noting that the second reading will primarily focus on the principles and merits of the bill. Thank you, honourable members. Honourable members, we will now deal with the second bill, and I remind the honourable members that pursuant to the resolution of Parliament on Thursday, 6th of November 2025, the debate on the bill will be limited to 1 hour. So I now call on the Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection, the Honourable Shashi Kiran, to move a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the resolution of Parliament on Thursday, November 6th, I move that the Adoption Amendment Bill 2025 be debated, voted upon and be passed.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to second the motion.
Honourable Rotiswau, second. I now call on the Honourable Minister to speak on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have many children who do not have the benefit of a nurturing family. A loving, adoptive, stable home can give a child in need a sense of belonging and the best possible chance to achieve their full potential. Mr. Speaker, the Adoption Act 2020 was designed to ensure that all adoptions are child-centered, uphold the best interests of the child, and prevent illegal or unethical practices. The Act was aligned with Article 21 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and the Hague Convention on Protection of Children and cooperation in respect to inter-country adoption. Mr. Speaker, the Hague Convention on Inter-Country Adoption is an international treaty that establishes safeguards to protect children, birth parents, and prospective adoptive parents from unethical and illegal practices in international adoptions. This includes setting up systems for cooperation, preventing child trafficking, and verifying that adoptions are legitimate. Adoption Bill 2020 was brought under Fiji Parliament's Standing Order 51. It was referred to the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, and we are informed that it was widely consulted. Following its gazettal for enforcement early this year, we realized that there were inconsistencies making it difficult to fully operationalize the Act. The urgency of this bill lies in the need to provide clarity, consistency, and efficiency in adoption proceedings, ensuring that the welfare of the child remains paramount. Our ministry, in collaboration with the judiciary, the Office of the Solicitor General, and legal practitioners, conducted extensive implementation consultations. These consultations identified a number of legal and operational gaps that have hindered the effective enforcement of the Act. There are inconsistent interpretation and application of certain provisions across the courts, procedural ambiguities that cause unnecessary delays in adoption decisions, weak enforcement mechanisms, and unclear institutional roles among responsible authorities. The Act empowers the Minister to make regulations. However, it does not confer authority on the Chief Justice to make rules governing adoption proceedings, resulting in procedural limitations within the courts. Since the operationalization of the Act, supporting regulations and court rules remain pending, creating uncertainty for both applicants and legal officers. Mr. Speaker, as of October 2025, there is a backlog of 467 cases. That is 467 children who could be placed in stable homes are denied this opportunity as we discuss this amendment. The key amendments will achieve the following. Section 22A will empower the court to appoint a guardian at any stage of the adoption, particularly where the birth parents are deceased, absent, or incapacitated. This ensures that no child is left in limbo during lengthy legal proceedings. Section 58A will empower the Chief Justice to make rules of court for adoption-related matters, ensuring consistent, efficient, and fair procedures across all jurisdictions. Section 59A will introduce an appeal mechanism for individuals aggrieved by the administrative decisions, reinforcing transparency and accountability. Mr. Speaker, these amendments are designed to address the current operational challenges and enable the full and effective implementation of the Adoption Act 2020. If I may add, our ministry is also implementing several reforms to strengthen adoption services to complement the passage of this bill, including training and certification of adoption and child welfare officers, development of a secure electronic case system to reduce delays and improve transparency, and strengthen collaboration with the judiciary, the Office of the Attorney General, and development partners. The Adoption Amendment Bill 2025 is not merely a legal adjustment, Mr. Speaker. It is a compassionate and practical response to the realities faced by officers who implement the law. This bill bridges the gaps that have hindered our adoption system and ensures that every child in need of a family can be placed without unnecessary delay. I therefore commend the Adoption Amendment Bill 2025 to this Honourable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, the Honourable Minister. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. Each member who intervenes will be allocated 5 minutes to speak within the hour allocated 1 hour for the debate on the motion. So the floor is open. Honourable Koya.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I think you may not need that hour. This is a bill that I think yesterday Honourable Minister for Lands, Honourable Wasarongo, actually spelt out the legal needs that were needed to be done in terms of this particular bill, and it's something that lawyers and magistrates and judges pointed out that there was it was needed. Now, of course, this is on the back of some of the other laws that had been put in place, and sometimes these things happen. You find out at a later stage when we've passed laws that some things may need to be amended. So we understand that from this side of the House, and I think we're all in total agreement with respect to the amendments that are being made, and it is facilitative rather than creating an animosity in this particular environment regarding differing opinions. On this particular issue, sir, we can concur with what's actually happening, because it is for the betterment of that particular provision, and just in short, so we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank the Honourable Koya for his contribution. I'm presuming you're speaking on behalf of the opposition, though. Correct? Thank you. Are there, yes, Honourable Wasarongo.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I did mention yesterday that if given the opportunity, I will rise again today to contribute to the passage of this bill. It's a bill that we can, and we have decided yesterday we're going to work together to bring this to pass. The Substantive Act is already in force, except that when they decided to operationalize it, since May of 2025, it was discovered that there are certain areas that that needed to be fixed, remains an anomaly, both in policy as well as in operational matters, that these soft amendments have sought to address. But why do adoptions happen in Fiji, as they would happen elsewhere around the world? The underlying ideology there is that we expect, in any nation, that we would expect that children growing up in a country would grow up in a space where they are safe, they are protected, and they are provided for. Unfortunately, in some instances, children find themselves in spaces where these three are not able to be provided for. instances where natural parents have passed away, instances where, unfortunately, parents fall on the wrong side of the law. There are instances where, unfortunately, parents die, road accidents and in hazards that are not usually anticipated. There are parents that that go into drugs, and there are, of course, unfortunate instances where children are born as a result of sexual offenses. And we need to be mindful that in such instances it will create a situation where a child will find themselves not with choice, but will find themselves in space where protection, provision, education and safety is going to be compromised. As we heard from the Minister, at the moment there are currently over 400 adoption cases that are pending. The bipartisan approach that have been taken by the Leader of Opposition and his team we're grateful for that. Thank you, Honourable Koya, for understanding. As practitioners, we know that these things are not usually very easy to do. Separation of parents, to transfer their legal rights as parents to those that they have preferred to look after their children are often very emotionally draining times. And so I think it is on that note that we thank the Leader of Opposition and the Honourable Koya for standing up on their side to approach this bill on a bipartisan basis so that we can pass it collectively. And for that reason, I support the bill that's before the House. So thank you.
I thank the Minister, the Honourable Wasarongo, for his contribution. If there are no more interventions, I will call upon the Honourable Minister to speak in reply.
Thank you, Speaker. I would again thank the opposition for their understanding and Honourable Wasarongo for explaining further. I have nothing further to say. I'm just grateful that both sides of the House are willing to support this amendment, Bill Vinaka.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Parliament will now vote. The question is pursuant to a resolution of Parliament on Thursday, 6th of November, 2025, that the Adoption Amendment Bill 2025 be debated, voted and be passed. Does any member oppose the motion? No. As no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. Secretary General.
A bill for an act to amend the Adoption Act 2020 enacted by the Parliament of the Republic of Fiji.
Honourable members, we will now deal with the third and final bill for today. And now call upon the Minister for Fisheries and Forestry, the Honourable Lalithi Ambanivalu, to move a motion.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 51, I move that the Forestry Bill 2025, Bill 36 of 2025, be considered by Parliament without delay, that the bill must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, that the bill must be immediately referred to the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, that the Standing Committee must report on the bill at the next sitting of Parliament, and that upon presentation of the report on the bill by the Standing Committee, the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament with the right of reply given to me as the member moving the motion.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Honourable Rose Tusawau. I now call on the Minister for Fisheries and Forestry to speak on the motion.
Honourable Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, Ms. Ayanda Winaka. Honorable Speaker, I rise to update this House on a proposed forestry bill, Bill 36 of 2025, which has been endorsed by Cabinet and is being tabled for first reading. Honorable Speaker, the Forestry Bill of 2025 marks a significant milestone in Fiji's forestry reform agenda. It represents the culmination of extensive consultations, technical reviews, and national dialogue undertaken over the past 3 years to modernize Fiji's forestry laws and align them with current global and national priorities for sustainable forest management. Honorable Speaker, the current Forest Act of 1992 has served Fiji well for over 3 decades. However, it was crafted during a time when the focus of forestry legislation was primarily on timber extraction and production. Over the years, Honorable Speaker, the sector has evolved, and our forests today are recognized not only for their economic value, but also their environmental, cultural, and social significance, including their role in biodiversity conservation, watershed protection, and climate resilience. Honorable Speaker, the proposed Forestry Bill of 2025 therefore responds to the need for a modern, inclusive, and accountable legal framework that promotes the sustainable management and protection of all types of forest resources. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry, with the support of Asian Development Bank and other development partners, undertook a comprehensive review of the Forest Act from 2023 to 2025. This process was complemented by 2 rounds of national consultations with stakeholders across the country, including our plantation sectors, their respective trusts, relevant government ministries and statutory bodies, private sector operators, non-governmental organizations, community representatives, and the general public. Honorable Speaker, the final round of consultation was held on the 15th of May 2025 at the Grand Pacific Hotel and included participants from across government and the forestry industry. Public transparency was ensured through the publication of the draft bill in national newspapers and on the ministry's website for open comments and submission. Honorable Speaker, I am pleased to report back that the feedback received from these consultations was overwhelmingly supportive and has been carefully considered and incorporated into the current draft before the House. Honorable Speaker, the Forest Bill of 2025 introduces several key reforms that modernize the governance and operation of the forestry sector. Among them are clearer definitions and objectives that align with the Climate Change Act of 2021 and recognize the inclusion of mangroves as part of Fiji's forest ecosystem. New governance structures, including the establishment of a Forestry Advisory Council to strengthen stakeholder participation and oversight. Introduction of 4 licensing categories to better regulate forest management, non-timber forest products, import and export, and wood processing and treatment operations. Enhanced compliance and enforcement provisions, including fixed penalties, stop work orders, and a newly created forestry tribunal to handle appeals and disputes. Recognition of customary rights for forest resource owners, ensuring equitable benefit sharing, and creation of forest finance, which provides sustainable funding mechanisms to support forest protection, restoration, and management while promoting a forest-based economy. Honorable Speaker, the enactment of this bill is critical to the future of Fiji's forestry sector. The threats of deforestation, climate change, and illegal logging require a robust legislative response that not only protects our forests, but also empowers landowners and communities to participate meaningfully and responsibly in the forest economy. Honorable Speaker, this bill ensures that our forests are managed as renewable national assets, balancing economic opportunity with ecological responsibility. It aligns Fiji with global sustainable development goals and strengthens our contribution to the fight against climate change. Honorable Speaker, furthermore, the bill promotes transparency, accountability, and innovation, providing the framework needed for modern forest practices, carbon trading initiatives, and sustainable financing through climate-related mechanisms. Honorable Speaker, in closing, I wish to acknowledge the efforts of all stakeholders who contributed to the development of this bill: the Minister of Forestry staff, staff from the Office of the Solicitor General, development partners from the Asian Development Bank and their team of forestry experts, government stakeholders, private sector operators, the Fiji Forestry Professionals Associations, foresters across Fiji, and traditional landowners whose stewardship of our forests continue to sustain our people and our nation. I respectfully urge honorable members of this House to support the passage of the Forest Bill of 2025. Its enactment will not only modernize Fiji's forestry laws, but also ensure that our forest resources are protected, valued, and sustainably managed for the benefit of present and future generations. And I thank you for the opportunity, Honorable Speaker.
I thank the Minister, the Honourable Banyualu. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. At the end of the debate, we will give the right of reply to the Honourable Banyualu as the mover of the motion. Honourable Usamati.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I thank the Minister for the statement that she's made. Forestry is indeed a very important part of our makeup as a country, and I think the recommendations for the review for the laws have been coming to Parliament over the past few annual reports for forestry. So from our side, we look forward to having the bill, and we look forward for the committee to be able to look into it and eventually bring back the finished product back to Parliament. Thank you, sir.
Thank the Honourable Usamati. Are there any other speakers? There are none. Honourable Koya.
Just to add on to what Honorable Usmati said, obviously this is something important to us. I think it's timely that it's actually come, especially in light of the fact that this has an attachment to climate change, etc., and a lot that can occur and for the benefit of our forestry in Fiji. So happy to hear that it's actually coming to our committee to have a good look at it. There are quite a few places around the world that have done this, and there's modern legislation that's around, so I'm happy to have a good look at it when we actually get it. So thank you.
I thank the Honourable Koya. Since there are no more speakers, I will call on the Minister for Fisheries and Forestry to speak in reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thank Honorable Usamati and Honorable Koya for their comments and their support on the Forestry Bill of 2025. And I look forward to their support when we debate the bill and pass it in the next sitting of Parliament.
I thank the Minister, the Honourable Banyualu. The Parliament will now vote. The question is pursuant to Standing Order 51 that the Forestry Bill 2025, Bill number 36 of 2025, be considered by Parliament without delay, that the bill must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, that the bill must be immediately referred to the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, that the Standing Committee must report on the bill at the next sitting of Parliament, and that upon presentation of the report on the bill by the Standing Committee, the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament, with the right of reply given to the Honourable Minister for Fisheries and Forestry as a member moving this motion. Does any member oppose the motion? As no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. The Secretary General.
Adjournment.
I now call on the Leader of the Government in Parliament, the Honourable Rofili Petrisovau, to move his motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Parliament adjourns until Monday, 24th November 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Here is their seconder.
Honorable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable Banyualu, second. The Parliament will now vote on the motion. The question is that Parliament adjourns until Monday, the 24th of November, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. Does any member oppose the motion? No. Since no member opposes, the motion is therefore agreed to unanimously. Honourable members, that concludes the end of our sitting, and I thank you all for your contributions throughout the week. I now declare Parliament adjourned until Monday, the 24th of November, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.